yeah, I still had like 20 seconds left. Bro! That's right. Pussy.
Did you just hit him in the crotch?
Yeah, like 4 times. Damn. Passion kill. What?
Bro's nuts just got chewed.
To quote the rapper / producer Kanye West, told her beauty is why God invented eyeballs, and her booty is why God invented my balls. Well, Kanye, if Dying Light is why God invented zombies, well then zombies are why God invented my balls. And after roughly 50 hours of playtime with Techland's new AAA release, Dying Light 2, I can confidently say that while I have lost my job, my dignity, and most of all, the relationship with my family, I still have my balls. This inconspicuously addicting yet simple gameplay loop of zombie acrobatics has had me certifiably hooked. Now, to better understand this review and my critique of the game, you must first enter cautiously into the mind of the reviewer, me. Essentially the human form of Stonehenge, I am no more than a neurotic and dilapidated Adderall addict. If I play a game that does not reward and stimulate me at every step of the way, I will soon be writing as many Steam refund requests as possible to recoup my losses. This is my first example of where Dying Light truly outshines the competition. Techland has taken the most miserable aspect of every other open-world RPG-inspired game, that being traveling. Take Skyrim, for example, a huge, beautiful open world, begging for each crack and crevice to be explored and conquered with the diligence of Genghis Khan. Yet beg and beg as it might, the grueling experience of tiptoeing at a snail's pace throughout the map, either by foot or by horsefoot, creates aneurysms within my skull, and ultimately, with enough time, would be the origin of my manifesto. But not Dastardly Light 2. No, instead, the developers at Techland decided that fun doesn't have to be a thing of the future anymore. With a sophisticated, albeit incredibly janky movement system, instead of begging for it all to end, I am instead on my knees begging for each new parkour perk, most of which create an entirely new technique and strategy for either navigation or escape from the infected. Take the dash ability, for example. Activate this and you instantly run faster. Genius. Who would have thought of such an idea other than Techland themselves? Another mechanic introduced early in the story is the high jump. Simply activate the high jump by holding the jump key longer and bam! Those little puppy paws will now be gripping onto surfaces and ledges once considered to be impossible. Here's another one for you. Triple jump. Completely unheard of in any other game. It's a feat in and of itself that the true genius level developers managed to figure that one out. It's not a jump, but 3 jumps in one. Absolutely astounding. Who would have thought of that if not the brilliant dev staff at Techland? I don't even mind that my computer severely overheats during every cutscene, and I understand that they made sacrifices they were forced to make to ensure what were once thought of as impossible video game mechanics. Now, maybe you are old enough to have developed a sense of spatial reasoning and object permanence. Maybe you're old enough to have experienced your first kiss or your first real love. Maybe you're old enough that, frankly, you're too old and shouldn't be alive. I mean, seriously, if you're watching this and you need a bedpan due to incontinence or use a walker for anything unrelated to a sports injury, like seriously, buzz off and let those grandkids of yours have their inheritance already before you soil that too. Yikes. I have absolutely no clue where that came from. Let's just gloss past that. Anyways, sexuality doesn't really matter in this review. However, just know that if you are quote-unquote queer-leaning, you'll be highly disappointed at the lack of LGBTQIA+ content this title has to offer. With the vast emphasis that Techland put on choosing your own story and your own experience, try as we might, I was unable to convince any of Old Villador's men to kiss my character. Now, despite this game's massive underachievement for LGBTQIA+ allies, I will continue into the next redeeming quality of an otherwise unstained perfection of a game. There's something peculiar about the elevators in this game that floods me with a great deal of primal release. In our game, we quickly found ourselves taking repeat trips on elevators purely as a purpose and tool of pleasure. There's a lack of elevator ambiance with no music playing mildly in any of the elevators we discovered. However, that slight disappointment with the lack of stimulating and emotionally enhancing tunes, neither myself or my friend were able to abstain from that custardy smooth ride up and inversely down, the lack of lighting providing an alleviating and calm environment. Now, as excited as this may make you feel, the best is yet to come. For some bizarre reason, the call button panel when pressed created an increasingly warm and pulsing sensation within my pineal gland. As you can imagine, I continued to press that elevator button. Up, down, up, down, up. Comprehensively suspended in imagination from the opening of my third eye. Like a Rain Man, I quickly calculated all possible possibilities, my mind now pulsing with energy, eyes dilating with each elevator ride. Like the pressure-driven cracks on glass galloping into position, I rode the elevator again. But enough about that. What about our protagonist? What's he like? Upon a quick examination, it would appear that neither I, myself, or Dying Light 2, the video game, share any similarities. I being a semi-sentient human being of mild stature, the latter a zombie adventure video game. However, a glance at this Venn diagram I fashioned comparing myself and the protagonist should enlighten you as to why I love this game as much as I do. Despite a high representation of Pog zombies in this title, let's talk about something even thicker, the plot. That being zombies. Truly innovative. But there's more. These zombies are terrified of flashlights. Definitely original. Really, for any new player, what you could expect from your first Dying Light playthrough is an unhealthy and obsessive relationship that you will form with UV light. I'm not quite sure if the writers meant to indicate via metaphor that the main character of this game is secretly a bug, but I remain convinced, due to Aiden's unnatural and frankly gameplay ruining cockroach mechanic. As for character development, I guess you could say that there is development of character, in the manner that characters are developing into significantly less interesting characters. Essentially every character felt like some bizarre abbreviation of the NPC before them. Dialogue felt feverish at best, but at its worst, dialogue entranced me into an energy-exhaustive state, my body at the whims of my digital copy of Dying Light 2. In only a matter of moments, the entirety of my egotistical construct was decoded and systematically removed from my mind, instantaneously uploaded to cloud servers to further the vocabulary of Dying Light NPCs. Anyways, I did about a quarter of this review and then Elden Ring came out. I could really care less about Dying Light 2 or my review of it. So I'm kind of just going to end this here. There was, certainly a lot more on my mind, but not now necessarily. Sorry for the two Dying Light fans that I may be causing distress. Overall, 5 out of 5, despite a story that remains less coherent than the average Benadryl bender. So yeah, thanks for watching. You've now wasted, several minutes of your life that you will never get back. Bye.
Please consider the phone.
¿Quieres?